Thanks for letting me drink this water.
Hey man, come on. Thanks for letting me drink the water. So what do we talk about today? First of all, man, thank you so much for being here.
Of course, thanks for having me.
This is the New Space Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
On the New Space Podcast, we delve into the new space of the music industry from the perspective of the producers and mix engineers that artists work with every day. Right. Well, I'm Jackson.
And I'm Ife.
Did I just do that?
Did I just miss something?
That was a brain fart. I'm Ife.
I'm Jackson.
Oh, that was real.
That was real.
Hey, yo. That's more than a brain fart.
I'm Ife.
Yeah, I'm Jackson. Like, that's full confidence. He's still behind it. I'm even looking like, really?
He didn't notice, so I called myself.
Until you said Ife, I'm just like,
oh my God.
Stage name, bro?
My name is, I'm Michael Jackson. How about that?
There you go.
Before the vertilago. Super excited to have Saheed with us today.
For sure.
All right.
Likewise.
Saheed is someone that I have the utmost respect for. He's one of the most hardworking people in the music industry that I know. Right. He's one of those guys that does all the work behind the scenes on some of your most favorite records. And, some of these projects he's known about for like a year, 2 years, maybe more before they come out and become hits and are winning Grammys and winning awards and stuff like that. So definitely going to let you, as much as you want to share, because I know there's a lot of things that can get intertwined that either you can't, really fully talk about right now. Right. But to the extent that you're able to, we'd definitely love to know some of what you've done so they get perspective of what you're going to be sharing today.
Yeah.
All right.
I appreciate that. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Ife. Thank you, Jackson. And I've never done a podcast before. Actually, I did one. No, it wasn't a podcast. My first time doing a podcast.
Dope.
And I will continue to not do one until, I really like rock with the person that's doing it, like family, or I really like buy into like what it's about.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm
honored to be here. Once upon a time, you wouldn't have wanted me on this podcast.
Oh, yeah?
So God provided, and I'm here because it makes sense for me to be here for the podcast. I hope,
Yeah, absolutely.
Just long story short, I am a question mark years old. And, I've been a creative since I was a kid. And over the course of the last, I don't know, what are we, 2025, 24?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, literally like for the last 11, 12 years, since I was a teenager, I've been on the other side of the industry, even though I'm a creative at heart, but I've worked managing artists, marketing, digital marketing, black market marketing when it first came out with like Twitter accounts, blog accounts when that first became a thing. I've, ran PR companies, just publishing, with Immensum, along with live events and a bunch of other stuff that we've done. And I could say I've touched a lot, almost every aspect of music and the industry. And I could say I did it on purpose because I did it with purpose, but it was just God, bro. Like I didn't, I just took every single day and tried to do the best I can each day. And if it meant that I was at, Vidya and person X, Y, and Z, you wanted to drop an album and I'm pitching it to Spotify, Apple, whatever. I'm talking to these people's teams about, how to get the most out of their release, or, with Immensum and, my partners there, Koch, Ada, we're talking about signing deals with people like DeVito, Amare, et cetera, or, just everything that falls in between outside of the business on the creative side, executive producing, writing, et cetera. It just all comes from the love of music and the product of expression, and I'm blessed with perspective. And because of my perspective, I have insight that if I release, it could probably help people or just entertain them, one or the other. And
we'll love it as much of that as you can, because I think one of the major things that we're going to try to do with this specific episode is we want artists to be like, man, I've been trying to crack the code. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right that I need to keep doing? You know, so probably a lot of the things that you notice and you see that a lot of indie artists are doing, like, oh, that's not it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things like that, or right?
Yeah.
The things that they're doing right, they're like, you know, just keep doing that. You know, if you keep doing that, it could happen tomorrow. It could happen very soon. Whatever, just keep going. That's kind of like we want to figure out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, I guess we'll just jump straight into kind of like expectations, like everything other than music. Like, how do you know everything other than the music itself?
Wait, sorry to cut you off. Is this microphone close enough to my face?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You scoot
How do you
scoot it
know?
forward a little more.
Because I could see the waveform. I saw that's why
Yeah,
I
I
was
forgot
testing
you
out.
do this shit.
Yeah.
He does do it
Alright.
sometimes. One time he forgot to record one microphone.
Yeah, I did.
For real?
Yeah.
And one time Jeff lost our first episode officially. We recorded 2 episodes. Jeff lost the files.
Jeff.
I have yet to make a crazy mistake. So
Yeah, and when we do, we're gonna make.
I don't do it, but
Today's the day.
I don't do anything though. I just sit here and ask
Oh.
questions. He handles audio. He handles video. So
You just
who
take up
knows?
space.
Maybe I'll start a fire one day.
Yeah, blow this place up. Insurance check.
Yeah.
I mean, not no more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so sorry to cut you off, bro.
No, you're good. Like, what do you like? What's the first sign outside of the music that somebody's like a superstar? And like,
Outside of the music.
yeah,
It's a great question.
Mm.
Okay, let me go a little deeper because it's a little vague, but it's a great question. Have I spoke to this person? Am I working with this person? Did I just see like what's my perspective on looking at them?
That's
What's
a good
my
counter
relationship?
question.
yeah. Somebody you know. It doesn't maybe not like super personally, like you have them over for dinner all the time, but you're aware of like their character, kind of like personality.
Oh, okay, then I can answer that.
Yeah.
Discernment. That is the first sign. Because ultimately, throughout the journey of an artist's career or just anybody that's in business, your no's are just as important as your yeses. Your judgment is all that carries you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you can't really teach judgment. You know what I'm saying? Some people just make bad decisions by nature. You know what I mean? And like, discernment is the one thing I've seen, you know, that shows me like, okay, this person. Yeah.
And would you say that keeps them from being like liquid? Like, would you look for somebody who's not going to change, or somebody who's going to change and evolve to what the like industry wants, I guess, if that makes sense? Like, discernment, are you saying like they're very clear cut in who they're going to become through the music?
More so that than the latter. I mean, than the whatever the fuck latter means. But more so that like, it's just about, this is who I am. This is what I want. I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to influence. But I know what I am, and I know what I want, and I know what I'm doing. And I have the blessing of judgment to know A from B, counterfeit from genuine. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
that's so important because granted, the music is there, the situation is there, and things are happening for them. Having that conversation and knowing that person, I can already tell sometimes, most of the time, like, man, this person, they got it, but, you know, music doesn't physically exist.
Yeah.
So the industry around it, of course, is going to be chaos.
Right.
You know what
That's
I mean?
interesting,
Like,
yeah.
So when you're dealing with a chaotic environment with some people doing it opportunistically, some people, everybody has their own reasons for why they're in it on the business side. If you don't have that judgment to just be able to tell somebody's character or trace back to how you got to where you got to and stick to that process of moral, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to be in and out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you're going to be down and out. You know what I'm saying? One or the other. So that's also a really broad answer, I know, when I say discernment and judgment, but like, I can tell that just having a conversation with somebody, you know what I mean? Like, by the questions they would ask, you know, by the way that they explain their situation or by the goals that they might have. You know, sometimes certain levels of superficial goals can show me that you can probably easily be swayed.
But wouldn't that come from experience?
No. Experience can help it.
Okay.
You know, but I think it's not a perfect equation. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
Superficial goals is like an indicator that someone's easily swayed. That's an interesting statement. And so like I could see somebody like, say there's a low artist who's not as talented as I am, and I give them a piece of advice, and they take it like fully and take off in that direction. Like, you need more energy in your music. You need more this, and they
Change.
They're not or they're how they just act too. So like I can see that for sure. That if your goal is to maybe just be a rapper or just be a rich person who made it through music, then you're not centered in your mission through it. So I can see.
I mean, think of it like a pot of food, right? You're cooking, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between seasoning your food and contaminating your food. You know, like, and when you're taking advice that is in the same vein of your goals and your mission and your purpose and who you are, doesn't go past your moral compass. It falls in the lines of the person you are, just not in this physical present time. Then that's just seasoning the food.
Yeah,
it's all in cohesion. You might not have had the season. You may not have ever tasted it before, but it's still gonna be in the same direction of the meal. And then you can go get like rat poison and put it in there, or you can go get bleach and put it in your food. And that's the contamination. That's the people swaying you away from that. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell somebody, yo, I think your music needs more energy, whatever that could mean, right? And it's up to them to take that advice. But at the end of the day, if their approach toward creating their music has low energy because that's how they felt while they were creating it, then it's up to them to receive that advice and just maybe even experiment a little bit, or just say, you know, to themselves, like, you know, appreciate that. And then they eventually just won't take the advice, which is fine. You know, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the intention, or vice versa. If you give that type of advice and then they think about it and they're like, yeah, you know what, let me try it. Or, you know what, yeah, for sure. Because that's what I wanted out of it. I don't want somebody to hear this and feel like it's low energy, because I brought energy with it.
Right.
So if that's not what's being received, then I need to go fix that. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, as a creator, in my eyes and opinion, you are expressing what you feel when you create. And you don't necessarily get better as an artist, in my opinion. You get better as a communicator, as an expresser of what you feel. You know, so you're constantly striving to express yourself as accurate as possible, which can come across as somebody getting better and finding their sound and making better music. It's just them being more accurate with their expression on how they feel.
Right.
So yeah,
what I'm hearing about that is, that's really, really, really good. What I'm hearing about that is, you can probably get better as a musician. If you're a singer, you can work with a vocal coach, become a better musician, because that's part of the music side of things. But as an artist is about expression, right?
Yes.
So that's the side of it that you're talking about.
Exactly.
I get
100%. You know, like, you have to be as close as possible in here as you can get.
Communicator.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's dope. I like your outfit, by the way.
Thank you, bro.
It's actually really cool.
Fresh to death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I made it myself.
Really?
No.
I was like, what are the odds? Because Ofenda.
Oh, yeah.
We had this guy in here, and he handcrafted everything he was wearing.
Yeah, except his cowboy hat.
Yeah, probably not his boots, but
handcrafted it.
Yeah, like you know, like lace, like Nigerian lace, or whatever. He just cut it up and made it into like a whole nother thing. And like,
does he do it only for himself, or does he do it for other people?
He does it for other people too.
Connect me with him.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, please connect me with him. I don't like buying clothes, to be honest with you, because you know what that is to me? I'm just choosing the best of the scenario. It's not really what I want. It's just what I want out of the other shit that I don't want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not getting what I want. I'm getting what is given.
Yeah.
But if you make your own clothes, I can always have exactly what I want all the time.
I'm gonna definitely connect you.
True
I'm gonna show you,
that.
I'll show you some pictures too. I think you're gonna like his style.
No,
Like,
he's dope. He's a
He's-
Nigerian country artist.
Oh, word, like Shabuzi.
Nah, I wouldn't say that.
Shabuzi's a country artist who happens to be Nigerian.
Yeah,
He's
this
a
guy's like
Nigerian.
he has an accent and he's
Oh,
making
dope.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's fire.
No, he's like one of the coolest guys ever.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
But
I would love to meet him.
yeah. So what like staying on like the expectations topic.
Mhm.
So what is somebody do you take into account if somebody has nothing established, like if they're just a completely blank canvas, but they've got a great personality and can record good music?
As far as like working with them,
Yeah, like they have no established anything social media wise.
it don't matter. None of
Because I've
that.
been seeing this guy on Instagram who's an A&R, and he goes through the list of things that are absolute no's. He's like, if you have below 25,000 followers, he goes through this list of things, and I'm just wondering if that's like a thing amongst record labels nowadays because there's so many artists.
I think there's two sides to it. One side is that if you're a bank, which is a label essentially, and you don't necessarily know how to make these records, you don't know where these people are, who they are, whatever, then you have to like take a safe bet in their eyes. And a safe bet means I can already see that if we release a song with you, you already have people there available. It's kind of like a distribution deal with catalog versus a speculative distribution deal. You know, somebody can give you 100,000 for 10 future records, and just based upon what they believe you've done in the past, versus, or based on them believing in the music or features, whatever, versus somebody saying, okay, I'll give you 100,000, then you can take my back catalog. So immediately you get that deal, there's already money coming in from the back catalog. It's just a safer bet financially as a business. But ultimately, anytime you hear somebody say something that has to be, or a minimum in art, in music especially, that doesn't physically exist, cap.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because you can't, because there's somebody gonna break the rule every time. Whatever rule you can try to go create. I can tell you a story that I was close to, that I was working on, or that I saw, or that I'm aware of, that breaks that rule. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody can say you need 25,000 followers or whatever. Bro, off rip, 4 Bats out of Dallas in December or something in that, around that time, had less than 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
You know, so it didn't take him to go grow a fan base by doing X, Y, and Z in order to, like,
And you got a Drake feature now.
you know, Drake, Kanye, and Usher.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, big ups to him, you know, but like, that's just, he broke so many rules that shouldn't even be rules. So there's no entry level, none of that. Like with anything, even with the business side, not to like get off topic, like somebody the other day asked me, they were like, yo, I'm trying to manage, you know what I'm saying? But there's an artist I'm thinking about managing, but I don't feel like I have the experience and the this and that to manage. And I was like, that's probably true. But at the end of the day, like, the job of management is not to necessarily be the person that blows you up. It's to be the person that does whatever it takes. And sometimes, if not all the time, whatever it takes just means literally growing that network, growing that knowledge in real time to garner whatever it takes to get this from A to B.
Right. Like, are you going to become a better manager by sitting around and thinking about managing people?
Like, how are you ever gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you got to start from somewhere. You know what I mean? Most of the long lasting artists that I'm aware of have the same managers since they were friends.
Yeah.
Future the Prince, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, he wasn't managing nobody before Drake. They were friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the list goes on. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sal, you know, I'm sure he was probably managing a couple people, but Sal he didn't have Sal and Co before he started managing The Weeknd. At the level it's at now with Doja Cat and all these artists. It's a big corporation essentially at this point, but they started off together. You know what I mean?
Something's been on the back of my mind about something that you said, and I really never thought about it, even though I was aware. You were talking about how when labels look at artists, it's either investing in them for what they can do, or investing in them, giving them their money for their back catalog. I'm like, yeah, that's what they look at. What if you could pick one, what's a safer bet for artists? Like, you know, should they be growing their catalog and, you know, relying on that, or should it be more focused on their image and their skill set to get picked up by distribution or a label?
I think it just depends on your intention. It's just like I said earlier. There's no one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, if you are the type of artist who's just trying to like be a part, be one of, just be in the mix, sell records, go on tour, just the rat's wheel, then yeah, build your catalog. But ultimately, still, with that being said, your sound and your skill set, all of that stuff still precedes that.
Right.
But there's examples in my head that I know of people who didn't necessarily do that in private. They did it in public, and that's how they built their catalog. So now they have 7, 8 albums, and people know who they are, and they do their thing. They make their money, and they go home. But I don't think that that's the most sustainable and efficient approach.
Which one is?
I think the most sustainable, efficient approach will weed out a lot of people, which is the second thing you said. Honing in on your sound, your this, your that, and really like doing your 10,000 hours of just playing around with your voice, playing around with song, with sonics, just like getting it to where the creative process is second nature. So now you can actually really be yourself. Many people haven't gotten the creative process to be second nature. So it's very difficult for them to even search and find who they are as an artist. They're just pretty much, they are what they hear because they feel like that's what people want to hear, and that's being an artist. It's kind of like an athlete. Like when you watch the best basketball players play, they all have their own specific way of playing the game. But that comes after you master the fundamentals of the game.
Yeah.
You can't get loose with it unless you really know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, like you don't have to think about the tool you're picking up. You just pick it up.
Right.
And now you think about ways to make your strike or whatever unique.
Exactly. And ultimately that makes your greatness more sustainable and efficient because you have your way of playing. You are a dynamic player now. You have your style, your skill, but now people can rely on you to bring that talent and that skill on a consistent basis, which is why they pay them the big money to do what they do every single night, and they lead the team.
Right. Yeah, you absolutely, because all the good players in the NBA, like you could make them into a silhouette, and you could tell who it is.
Exactly.
Probably from the physique, but even if they made all the physique similar, just by their movement,
Bro,
I could tell you Kyrie.
I seen a video the other day of somebody, they were interviewing him, and they were just showing a silhouette of jump shots. Anthony Edwards, this person, that person, and dude just, I can't remember who it was. Probably like a celebrity or a random person, but he was like, oh, that's this person, that's this person, that's this person. Because like, bro, I'm telling you, like, it's almost the exact same. It's not even a metaphor almost. It's all in the same when it comes to athletics and music. It's people who have mastered their craft to the point where now, speaking of basketball particularly, they mastered the craft of basketball so well that now it's about, okay, what body do I have? Do I have big hands? Now you start utilizing your assets to your advantage.
And that forms your style.
Exactly. Steph Curry has to play the way he plays to be as dominant as he is because of what he was given in life.
Dunk on everybody.
Yeah, he's not the most athletic person. He's not like, his hands are not massive. You know what I'm saying? Like some people like Rajon Rondo had huge hands. So that gave him the ability to like be able to pass in a different manner. You know what I'm saying? Like some people like Anthony Edwards, he's a great defender. He has long arms. You know what I'm saying? Like his wingspan is crazy. So like ultimately, I say that to say for 2 reasons. One, your lack of resources when you make as an artist is just as important as the presence of your resources. The presence of your resources tells you what you can do. The lack of your resources is what makes you unique because now you have to compensate. And the same thing just as an athlete. The presence of your resources, Wembanyama's 7'5". You know what I'm saying? Like that is the presence. He has that. So now he's using that. However, he's not buck swole. He's young. I don't know. He knows what deficiencies are like. I won't call it weaknesses, just things that, if you were creating a player that he doesn't have. If you can create a player at all 99 at the perfect height, the perfect everything, there's things that he doesn't have. Right. And now he has to compensate for them. But because he's mastered his craft, he can create a unique way of doing his craft that doesn't that his deficiency becomes what makes him unique.
Yeah.
Just as much as his attributes.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And then
That's strong.
that's
I
how I
like
would look
that.
at it.
Yeah.
But like as an artist, like going back to what you asked, at the foundation of it, not a lot of people are willing to put in that amount of time to just play around. And I call it play around because that's what you're doing. You're not trying to make a single. You're not trying to get a placement. You know what I'm saying? You're not trying, and I'm okay with that, but like not a lot of people are willing to. Not that they can't, just not willing to. The same reason why you can watch an NCAA basketball game. You can watch an NBA basketball practice. And pro players who are making millions of dollars, and there's still that one guy who stays after and shoots 1,000 shots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And some of the other guys is like, man, I'm in the league, I work hard, but I ain't doing all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, same thing with music. Like, not a lot of people are willing to do that. Secondly, they're not willing to do that because they don't mean that to them. You know what I'm saying? And then beyond that, let's just say you are willing to do that and it does mean that to you. Does your natural instinct towards sonics, towards music, yield a pleasant sound? And that is what it really is about. Like, yeah, you can work as hard as you want to work and you can be in the studio all day and you can put in all your hours and work on your craft and your skill. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't have an ear for music, generally speaking, it's still not going to connect.
Yeah.
You know, but if the stars just got to align. You feel me? The stars got to align. That is a more sustainable route. If you really are about it for real and you breathe this shit, you feel me? Like, this is who you are and what you are. And this is how you're expressing yourself, and you solidify your craft, you play around music, you understand yourself in the studio and just your inspirations. You take that route and you figure something out and you create something, that is more powerful than having money. Mm-hmm. That is the asset. You now have something way more valuable than money. Because if it was about money and power, Diddy's sons would be the biggest rappers in the world.
So speaking about music and money, something just popped in my head. The whole argument about Spotify and streaming music or whatever, and them talking about music being devalued, music being cheap now. I want to know what you think about that. If you really do feel like music is cheap or devalued, or it's just a perspective that's wrong, or and what artists and even producers, because without the artists, there's no producers, right? Whatever. There's no mix engineers, all that. Like, what do we do with that? You know what I'm saying? How do we navigate that?
Why do you think people are saying music is cheap now?
Because
isn't it by definition cheaper? Because like the same thing as inflation. If 100,000 songs are put on Spotify every day, by definition, the product that is music, I'm not saying they're all good songs, but it's being spread out.
I mean, I don't know what people expect. I can't just go upload a movie on Netflix.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But you can on Spotify. You can upload
that's
whatever
what
the
I'm
heck
saying.
you want.
So I don't know what people expect, both consumers and creators. Like, if once anybody can do something, it just opens up an addition to the industry. Nothing has changed, in my opinion.
Spotify is Tubby, bro.
Like, is what?
Tubby. You know Tubby, the network.
Oh, Tubi, yeah.
Tubby, whatever.
I mean, look, Spotify at the end of the day is not a music company, it's a tech company. And Spotify has given a lot of people the ability to have a career making music that wouldn't have been able to have a career making music before. Mm-hmm. Now, the problem, I think, with people saying music is cheap and this, that, and the other, from the producer perspective, not consumer, is that they look at Spotify, and no disrespect to Spotify, I got a lot of homies at Spotify, but they look at Spotify as the end all be all, you must use this. Mm-hmm. And Spotify is just a tool. TikTok is a tool. Instagram is a tool. Apple Music is a tool. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you have the product.
YouTube is a tool.
YouTube's a tool. It's all a tool. Deezer, awesome. Ngami.
Yeah, we love YouTube.
All tools. They're not like musts. They're not compulsory. They're not, you have to do this. You must. You have to. There's no such thing as that. We're in an imaginary industry. We're in an imaginary world. I say that
That's
to say
cool.
it's just tools. You decide how you want to use it. Like, there's in film, for example, Insecure came out initially on HBO. And it come out on HBO, Hulu, Netflix, and everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Breaking Bad was what, FX? Mm-hmm. Seinfeld was in, I think, NBC originally or something. Now they license them to different streaming streaming platforms by bi-yearly or whatever they do.
Mm-hmm.
I say that to say, like, nobody treats the streaming world like that because it's so new in music, the streaming, and that people feel like, and they're not wrong, but they feel like if you're everywhere, it's better, which could be true for some people, depending on who you are, but it's not A plus B equals C. You have to still put value in what you're doing. Like, record labels charge XYZ for albums based on the money they were putting into it. They've already done the math. You feel me? So they price your product for you. You know what I'm saying? Like say what people can say what they want. Oh, you only get this many streams. I still think it's crazy that every album was sold for like between $10 to $20 physically.
Too much?
The fact that it's fixed is what I'm against.
Oh, okay.
Too much, too little. It's just fixed. You feel me? Like, iPhones are being sold for thousands of dollars,
right?
And it takes $15 to make one. You know what I'm saying? So, like, granted, there's a lot of things you can do on a phone, but I'm just saying, like, the product costs what the producer of the product says it costs. Music is not cheap unless you don't value it. Because if you don't value something, it would be valued at market price. You know what I mean? If you don't think on your own, if you don't control your mind will be controlled. You're going to just be a simulator. You're going to be in the world just operating with, you don't have no opinions. You're not doing anything by your actual choice. You're just being swayed by everything around you. It's the same thing with the music. Like, if you don't control what that product is priced at, it's going to be in the market somehow, some way if you want it to get out. And you just have to, surrender to whatever they say it costs.
Yeah.
And you're $1 million on Spotify for what, $3,500, whatever. A million streams, 35, whatever.
All right, check this out. I was just narrowed down to a certain demographic as far as artists are concerned.
Right.
You got your artists that are like, this is what they do. They're gonna die for this. Day and night, everything.
Yeah.
But then you have your after 5 p.m. artists.
Yeah, like you.
Right.
You said what?
Your after 5 p.m. artists. Like, they working 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They get off of work, get something to eat, and they go in their home studio or whatever. They go meet up with their producer or whatever to go do music from like 6 p.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. And that's all they can afford to do because they got kids, they got to pay the bills, whatever. What do you say to people like that are in that space? Because for them, I'm thinking about everything you're saying. I'm like, man, it would take them 5 times as long to be able to grind to develop the sound to where it's second nature. Do they have to just accept that that's going to take that long? Or what can they do to help that?
Going back to like what I was saying earlier, there's no A plus B equals C. Somebody could spend 2 hours once a week in the studio for a year, and that's all it took for them to really kind of like understand and be able to comfortably say, this is who I am and this is how I can attack it. Somebody else, it might take longer. But the answer is, it takes what you have. Right. You know, just like the question, I'm not sure we're going to talk about this, but if we do, we can reserve it. People always ask me, yo, how much money is it going to take to blow this artist up? It takes what you have. It takes what you're willing to spend. Doesn't really, there's no equation, there's no correlation between the amount of money you're spending and whether an artist is going to blow up and how far they blow.
There's got to be a minimum, though. You can't say you got $200.
Bro,
but you could do it for free.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you'd be surprised. Okay. Like, there's people who right now have platinum records that cost nothing. David from Houston, I think he used BandLab for his record. And this shit just blew up on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is why those tools are great. Because, like, that couldn't happen before. You know, to make records and to have success, you had to go to the big boards, you feel me? And they had to be all types of, you getting 12% from your label, you know what I mean? Like, it takes what you have. Time, money, resources, access, ability, whatever, like anxiety, whatever you have, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And whatever you have is all you need. Because we're all unique, we're all different. And as long as you're looking within, whatever you have is enough. Whatever you can reach is enough. Whatever you can go discover is enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what it takes. So that person that has to get off work at 7 p.m., they're tired, they got kids, they got a wife, and maybe they can hit the studio like at 11 when everybody's asleep, and they stay there till like 2:30 a.m. because they got to go to sleep. They got to wake up at 7:30, go to work. Like, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. And if that's what you do and you all in it, it's going to work for you. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully.
Dope.
But that it doesn't mean that if you had all the time in the world, it'll work for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
It don't mean that at all, you know?
Yeah. So essentially, this is impossible to like pinpoint anything. It's just like you said, like an imaginary industry.
Yeah.
It's an
That's
imaginary
crazy.
industry in an imaginary world. And the beautiful thing about it that for some reason is not common knowledge is that you create it's an imagination. Think about what an imagination is. You create that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a lucid dream. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And you just try to get people to like join into your.
You just got to be delusional. For like me, I'm delusional and focused enough on my own outlook and my imagination that there are people who will join that because it's so streamlined.
Contagious.
It's so, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I know
Yeah.
that, you feel me? Like, and that's just what it takes. Like, that's just what it is. You know, there's no, I know that's not what people want to hear. Everybody wants to hear like an answer. Everybody wants, okay, what do I need to do?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to know what to do to get what you want, go to school. Simple. There's a syllabus, there's a curriculum, there's credits. You take a test, you pass it, you get a license. If you want to know exactly what to do to get what you want, this is not the industry for you. And quite frankly, outside of the confines of capitalism in this world ain't for you. You know what I mean? Like, and the world's for everybody. So if everybody can just understand that you actually can create your reality, you just have to actually realize that. The power is within you. Whatever resources you have and don't have are meant for you to have and not have. And then you go from there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't think about what stops people from moving forward is they start thinking about what they don't got. You know what I'm saying? They start thinking about, man, once I get bread, man, it's a wrap. Or like, man, I just need one placement.
Bro, I
and
can't
I'm
lie.
good.
Like, even in my situation, that's like exactly.
Looking at
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm looking at you.
You feel me? And really what it is, bro, like, your destination is what you want. The route is not up to you. People be steady trying to control what that route is. The route is your lowest hanging fruit. The route is what's available to you. That's the route you take. You feel me? Like, whatever that looks like, that's the route you take. You can't not, so you're not going to get to your destination because this specific route you want to take is not available to you. You know what I'm saying? Or you don't have whatever easy tag to get on that road. Like, bro, like, whatever's available to you is your route. And if you can't think of it, then just create something. Figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's an imaginary world and it's an imaginary industry, and we're dealing with an imaginary product that you can't see. And there's just madness going on around it. People
it's just like
losing their minds.
It's like a spiritual force that vibrates air and it just connects to you.
But music is spiritual. Like, bro, like creating music, bro, it's like, for some people, if you're like doing sync or certain types of artists, they do it how they want. But the way I approach that process is 100% spiritual. It's like you're channeling something and then it comes out. So if creating it is spiritual and you can't see it, then everything else will operate the same way. When you're creating a song, that song didn't exist before you created it.
I think about that all the time.
Yeah, it's the weirdest
It's
thing.
so humbling. I'm like, whoa. Like, okay, I'm about to write a song. What I'm about to create does not exist.
Yep.
And then the moment the song is there and it's done,
Yeah.
I think about the few hours before it came. I'm like, this thing did not exist a couple of hours ago.
And now it's a thing forever.
Forever.
And then
mind-blowing to
if
me.
somebody else listens to it, you're basically spiritually connecting at that point.
Yeah.
Right. And then thinking about like over the next 365 days, I always think about what songs am I going to make?
Mm-hmm.
I could never predict it and I'll never know until it happens and it's just printed in
And that's
history.
the beauty. That's what makes it, that's what keeps us here where we are right now. You know, the minute you try to make it granular and try to create a template, yeah, you can hit and miss, you know what I'm saying? But like, if you want sustainability and this shit is really for you, it's spiritual, it's internal. You gotta go deeper in to reach further out. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you notice a lot of artists after their first or second album, you know, they don't really grow. They plateau sonically and with their fans. And it has nothing to do with anything other than they stopped looking in and they were just looking out to spread. And if you want to get more fans, if you want to grow your fan base, you want to grow your following, you want to grow your listenership, you want to evolve as a human being and as a creator ultimately, besides all of that external stuff, you got to go in deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And the deeper you go in, the further you reach out. You start to occupy a space larger than yourself.
I have a thought about artists or people who have like a certain sound or songs, or whether they're successful or not, and then going back in the studio to go do some more songs and new music. I think about just based off of what you were saying, I'm thinking of it like when I was 18, I had a circle of friends, right?
Yeah.
And when I was 21, 22, I had a slightly different circle of friends because that's when I started riding motorcycles, right? I was on crotch rockets. I was that asshole that would whiz by you and scare the crap out of you in your car, right? And I was that for like 8-9 years. After that, my circle of friends are completely different. I'm thinking about that from the perspective of an artist, where maybe earlier in their career, they created a certain sound, appealed to certain people, not even just the age demographic alone, but just maybe what you want to talk about or how you express that. And then like later on, they're plateauing because they still feel like they have to, cater to those same people that think that same type of way. Meanwhile, you want to do something that's maybe more mature, maybe more fun or whatever, and they're afraid to have to make new fans. Like we have to make new friends sometimes when we move into different areas of life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I was getting all of that from what you were saying.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, essentially that's it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, going back to like the song, when you're creating a song, and I'm not talking about everybody. Like I said, no, there's no one size fits all. In my opinion, I'm talking about lifelong rather, sustainable careers, like really like doing it for real, dropping whenever you want to, doing whatever you want, however you want. There's no, oh man, it's been a year, you haven't, no, like sticky fan base. We talking like Daft Punk. We talking like Frank Ocean. We talking like Kendrick. We're talking about like Sade, like real, like, you know what I mean? Like you are expressing how you feel in the moment when you're making a song. And 3 years from that point of time, when the songs are out, you've grown a fan base. You grew a fan base based on what you were expressing in that time. All that means is that the people that heard those records, however they were feeling at the time, wherever they were in life, however they heard the song, whoever they heard it from, all of that is an equation on why they were magnetic towards what you created.
Yeah.
Now, when you get back in the studio 3 years from that time, and you got 2 albums out, you need to create as an expression of what you're feeling in that moment. Because as different as we all are, we all have the same feelings. It's just the dynamics, the spectrum is large. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so one person could be moping and crying because, I don't know, they didn't get a raise. You know what I'm saying? And they're making $70K a year, and that raise was really gonna help them buy a new house. And they're feeling it. And somebody else is crying because they don't have a job. And then somebody else is crying, but it's the same feeling. It's just a spectrum of the depth of what you're feeling. So that's why music will never go away, because we all share the same feelings. So if you create based on what you feel every single time, the people that listen to the first album, they might not necessarily be feeling what you're doing, which is fine. They're still there. They exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. You know what I'm saying? And then whoever gravitates towards that just gravitates towards that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people call it risky, but that's just the way it is.
I take it you feel that a lot of artists are scared of doing that and are constantly trying to cater to, prematurely to, what people.
Yeah, and I don't blame them.
Expect.
I don't blame a lot of people, because they're doing all of this for survival. You know what I mean? Like, if you know that you can make a song and make money, and that's how you can take care of your family and take care of your life, then at some point there's no room for error in your mind.
Yeah.
And you need to do what has gotten you to the point, and you need to feed the beast. You know what I'm saying? You need to, like, yo, these are my fans. They're gonna like whatever I do. I just need to make sure that they're happy. But I think it's understandable and it makes sense. But I do also think that there's a little bit of a consumer to producer disconnect. People don't want to know. People don't know what they want. The same way you go to Apple TV and you want to watch a show. Imagine if somebody just told you exactly what the show was about, told you every twist, every turn, told you every moment, every whatever. You wouldn't even watch the show anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's entertainment. Entertainment is not about liking something. It's about not expecting it.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Like, even roller coasters, no matter how much you look at a roller coaster, you don't know what it feels like till you get on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's entertainment. You know, you watch a movie, you didn't know that was going to happen. Personally, I'm so into like the experience and entertainment. I don't watch trailers. I don't even want to know who's in the movie. Because if I'm watching 20, 30 minutes of the movie and there's a character that's an A-list celebrity that's not in it, I'm just waiting for them to come in. You know, I don't like to, I want to just be surprised and shocked.
Did y'all
like
see that?
trailers.
Did y'all see that Indian rapper that's blowing up right now?
Yeah.
Like that caught me off guard, and the song was
like a Memphis
super
type
hard.
But he's fine. You would never expect that.
No, yeah, that's the
you know,
part.
like, and I guarantee you, bro, like most of the songs that's popping right now, I'm not gonna say like particular names, but you take them records to every A&R and all the record labels and everybody, they're gonna be like, oh, maybe you should add this, la la la. They're gonna say something about it. You know what I mean? Like, so there's no people,
You know,
want what they don't know.
If you think about any and every era, like when Michael Jackson came out, it was like, oh, what is this? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
When even Drake came out with his style,
He was
like,
vulnerable.
He was singing a lot.
Drake was the most
You know what I'm saying?
vulnerable
Like,
rapper.
It's crazy. You know,
Everybody came at an angle.
yeah,
that
everybody
provided something that didn't
Shaboozey,
exist.
Are you kidding? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, like I didn't know that needed to be a thing.
yeah,
Like that song he made, Tipsy.
yeah.
Until you hear it, like you're out and you hear it,
And
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 you're
then
like,
now
wow,
you got all these people scurrying around. Hey, we got to make a record like this.
exactly
Just like in basketball, Steph Curry becomes a thing, and now you look at the drafts that come after him. Everybody's trying to draft somebody that plays like that.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan became a thing.
Everybody started shooting.
Harold Miner was drafted because he was 6'6" and he looked like Michael, and he kind of had the body build or whatever.
Didn't work.
Remember the league was a big man league once upon a time. I don't know how much y'all watch basketball, but back in the Patrick Ewing days, Shaq changed the way he plays to adapt. Shaq was playing point guard in high school. He came to the NBA, he gained weight, he had to be a big man. You know what I mean? And what that does is that now you got 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds who are watching him, who are 6'7", 6'8", and they're probably going to be 7 feet tall. They're going to play like what they see in the league. Now, I don't know what's happening in the league now.
Shooting from like
exactly
25 feet. Like,
15 years from now, the NBA is going to look like Space Jam, bro. Because Wembanyama and people of that nature, 7'5", that are playing like guards, you better believe every 11, 12, 13-year-old that's 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", 7
you
feet,
gonna believe they can,
they're going to be working on that style of play now. So you're going to see a league one day probably when you have 5-on-5, everybody 7 feet and above just acting crazy. Probably going to have to raise the goal. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
So
haven't they considered that before?
Probably. But that's really what it is. You have the pioneer, then you got your duplicators. You have the pioneer, you got your duplicators. The question is, do you want to be a pioneer? Do you want to be a duplicator? There's pros and cons. Pros of being a pioneer, lifelong career. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, just express yourself, because people have already bought into the fact that this is who you are. We don't know what we're going to get next. Like Kanye. You don't know what Kanye... No, these days, people have their reservations, but Kanye is how many years in the game now?
Yeah.
First, how many albums, you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
And it's just like, wait, what? 808s and Heartbreak, huh? You're surprised.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever he wants.
Do a whole
Do you want to
song
be the
with no
pioneer?
kick.
The disadvantage is that you have to be unapologetically delusional, unapologetically confident, and you can't allow outside fears or distractions, or you have to just, this is me, this is who I am, and this is, you got to be like that.
So what are some like exercises people can do to like really dial that in? Like, is it important to get off the internet, like spend time alone, just as far as building just the confidence, not necessarily just spending time in the studio? That's something I've been thinking about recently, is because confidence isn't something you think about having. You just do it. You just have it. Like, what are some practices people can do?
I think confidence comes from preparation. Repetition.
Too. Yeah.
So like, if you're just super talented and you just have this ear for music and you started getting in the studio, no matter how good it might sound to you or to anybody else, you might not be as confident. You might not be as confident as somebody who they didn't, you know what I mean? They didn't put it in. Like, there's confidence, and then there's some people who feel like you have to be confident, so then they put on the confidence hat. You know, that's not real confidence. That's just like you're acting this way because you know that you have to be confident.
Yeah.
You have to legitimately be confident in what you're doing. You have to feel like, you know, it doesn't matter who likes it. I don't care who likes it. I just know I like it.
Yeah.
And once you zone that in, and you said something that made a lot of sense that I've been talking about recently, it's about being alone. You know, like you gotta value being alone. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to always be alone, but you have to have alone time.
Right. You're always having thoughts, and your thoughts they make you up.
Yeah.
And so you're always having thoughts. And if you're always like stimulated by a device or other people's entertainment, your thoughts are being morphed and they're being held, like you said earlier, controlled.
Yeah.
So
speaking of that, I was showing you guys how I've been kind of like trying to discipline myself with that.
Yeah.
So I got this device. It's on my fridge right now. It's called a brick. You heard of it?
No.
So you scan app on your phone, and you open the app and you tap it on there, and it locks your whole phone down. It turns into a flip phone.
Real?
So Instagram don't work, YouTube don't work, nothing works except calls, text messages, and that's it. Nothing else works, right? And then there's a timer. Like once you break your phone, it stays that way until you go back to the device wherever you put it.
Yeah.
To unlock it, basically.
Yeah.
And it's helped me a bunch. Like whenever I get to a place, I could be working on a song, and I'm like, dang, what do I want to go to next? Before I might be like, while I think about that, what's going on over here on this Instagram, you know, or whatever. Now I have to sit there with my thoughts and be like, okay, let me take this cake out. Let me try this. Let me experiment. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I really get into a flow, and it's been really good. No, you don't have to do that. This is not a push or ad for them or whatever, but that's so crucial because so many distractions now, bro.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important to zone in. You know what I mean? Like, otherwise you would never be able to see clearly. You know what I mean?
And if you're expressing your feelings and your thoughts through your music, but you never have independent thoughts because you're always influenced by something, who's making your art? Is that really your like condensed version of yourself? And I don't think so.
Yeah. So I mean, and then, you know, and again though, it's not an exact science because there are examples that could be made that, you know, maybe there's certain types of music or certain music that's made for certain environments that work better for people who are amongst people all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as, you know, like my perspective of like what the approach is and should be, you know what I'm saying? Like anything that I'm affiliated with or myself is tippity top all the way. You know what I'm saying? Like past the clouds, past the sky, past the stars. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if that's what the intention is, if that's what you want, this shit is deep. You know what I mean? If that's not what you want, yeah, you do what you want to do. You know what I mean? But if that's what you want, it's deep.
I got a question for you. Now, Jackson here and me, we happen to be mix engineers, some of the best ones out there. And I want to ask you, what do you think about mix engineers and their role in this huge supply chain of the music industry? How important do you think, and you can be honest, how important do you think we are, and what should be the relationship between artists and the mix engineers?
I think that the mix engineer is only as important as the product needs them to be. But let's just say in a scenario where the mix engineer is important, which I believe in most scenarios, the mix engineer is pretty pivotal, you feel me? The relationship should be, I need this to get as close as possible to what you're trying to express. Not, I need this to get as close as possible to what I'm comfortable with or what is standard or what might sound good, sound bad. There's no such thing as good or bad. This person is expressing themselves. So it's about getting to the source of what exactly it is that they're looking to hear based on what they feel
Mm.
and getting it there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then making sure, because you're now making sure that whoever's listening to it can hear what they're trying to express.
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I
It's
mean?
like physical artwork, like a painting. Like you could liken the mix engineer to the guy who puts it on the right spot on the wall, like adjust the lighting to bring out the best highlights of the
Exactly.
picture.
Exactly.
Like that. Because if
That's a great example.
Yeah, because if the artist can see really well in the dark and just paints it up, they can see what they were doing.
Mhm.
But then they go hang it up on the wall and it's in the same lighting, the
Mhm.
outside world isn't going to be able to
Wow.
Yeah.
exactly see the vision.
I just there's a
That's a
song.
good analogy.
There's a song that I mixed, and I swear I'm just looking at it for the first time right now in like a while. It just dropped like 2 weeks ago. Y'all know the song. You were here when I was working on it. It's at 840,000,
Oh, dope. What's on?
and I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
not.
Well, is it out?
It's out.
Oh, you're saying it's on
I don't even know.
840,000
I don't
streaming?
even.
840 on Spotify alone.
Oh, dope.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember when we were talking about this record. Should I just say it?
Yeah, it's out.
Looking for God, Manny Wells.
Oh
yeah.
It's at 840,000, and I'm so excited and so proud of this.
It should be at
But
10
I
million.
promise you, I remember
Yeah, that song's
just
crazy.
Just when you were talking I remember when we were talking about what we wanted the record to do, and I listened to the demo, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I can definitely clean this up and make it do this and make it do that, and I sent the first version, and it was like, this is dope, but this is what I wanted to do, and what he was saying in essence was, here's how I want it to feel because this is what I want to express,
Mhm.
right? I had originally made the background vocals wide and creamy and just like really like full and like choir,
Yeah.
But he was like, can we just collapse it down a little bit and make it dark and emphasize the guitar and the lead vocal and do it a certain way. So I went back to that and I'm like, okay, this was on purpose because sometimes they'll do, like you get a rough mix and it's just, they just put stuff there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Big respect to, big shout out to Manny Wells, but he was very deliberate in everything that happened, even on that demo on the rough, right? So I'm like, okay, let me just take this blueprint and just make it pop, make it shine.
Mhm.
And then by the time we sent it back, it was just like, yeah, we're there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just one little thing, then one little thing, boom, done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like, it's not been a month.
No,
It's
that
about
song
to
is
hit a
going
million.
crazy. That song is blowing
Yeah.
up.
And it's, bro, I'm so proud of that. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so like, that's exactly what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
it has to be what they want to express. Now, sometimes, like, I'm sure you experience the same thing. Artists will be like, just make it sound good, And at that point, you got to put your creative hat on and be like, okay, what will be good to highlight in this song, in this mix or whatever, and then you bring that out. I'm working on your project right now,
Mhm.
and when we were working on it sitting side by side right here in the studio, it was like you were very specific. Like on one track, there was a talking drum,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And you wanted the talking drum to really sing.
Mhm.
And I felt at first like, oh, the talking drum is super percussive. It's got to do this. The rules.
Mhm.
And you were like, man, the rules. Make that thing sing. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's do it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like, yeah, it's gonna be crazy when it's out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's important, man. That's the most important.
that's what's up.
But artists got to help you out too, because like just make it sound good is there's no such thing as good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's no matter how good a song is, no matter what the reception is, somebody's gonna think it's not good. So then what is good? You know what I mean? Like that's not enough. You know what I mean? You got to really and as an engineer, just like we talked about artists and athletes, as a mixing engineer, you have to put in a lot of hours of just understanding, first of all, your interface, shortcuts just for speed, so you don't have to take so much time. Secondly, experimentation with so many different aspects of whatever software you're using, whatever DAW, whatever you're using to do whatever you're doing, so that when somebody does ask you to do things, you're not wired into like, this is mixing 101. This is the way it's supposed to be done. You can literally be like, okay, well, if they're asking for this, there's no button to press to make something sound like this, and like that. But I know how to like do this, and I put that in there. Maybe you got to put this and this, and you know what I'm saying? Like you'll know how to. That also takes that time, but that communication is important. You know what I'm saying? Music, making songs, whether it's the artist to the consumer, the artist to the engineer, it's all just communication. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all communication.
That's what's up.
Absolutely. Well, I've got an interesting question. I guess to kind of wrap it up if we want. If a 90-year-old woman walked up to you right now and said, "What do you do for a job?" What would you say?
I express myself.
And she was like,
she's gonna. What
does that mean?
It's the greatest job in the world.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I would assume just artist. Yeah. So, are you like, what keeps you the busiest? Like on a really specific technical term. What are you doing the most of?
Because here's how I see you. Like when I think about Saheed, aka Street Lights, aka on the Instagram amusement park and all that stuff. When I think about you, I'm thinking I see an artist, I see a music producer, I see an A&R, I see a DJ, I see a artist development music professional. I see somebody we didn't even touch publishing and like neighboring rights and like masters and all those things, because this dude is you're your own Chat GTP for that. If Chat GTP just took you and just used you as data source, it would be good to go when it comes to that information. We might have to do a part. I don't even know how we're gonna do this, but we have to bring you back because there's so much to cover on that. But so out of all those things I just mentioned, like I'm trying to put you in a box, but which one would you identify with the most? That you are
artist,
and then artist. All right, dope. And what are you working on right now? Like what's going on with you right now?
Right now, I'm just working on keeping my mind clear.
All right.
And focusing on what I want to focus on and just following my purpose. And to answer your question, what keeps me the busiest is just keeping my mind right and healthy, and my body and my mind. I'm going to say that a lot, because no matter what it is that I want to do, what I'm focused on, whatever, if I'm not controlling my own mind, I'm not living on purpose, you know what I'm saying, then what's the purpose?
Well, your mind sounds clear.
It does.
It's as clear as it's ever been.
You dropped some crazy nuggets in there.
For real.
Talk about clip mind.
That's exactly the words I was thinking about.
Bro, I'm really just a child amongst children who learn how to teach.
Isn't that weird? We're just like kids with vocabulary.
Like, yeah, I can sit up there in front of the class and teach the kids, but I'm still a kid, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not directly talking about being a kid, like just as far as like being a creative, like I'm just a creative, bro. Like, I just want to express myself through art. I went ahead and learned a lot and I experienced a lot, but if anybody else was in my shoes and spent that exact same amount of time doing what I was doing, they'd be where I am now too, as far as like what they've seen and understand. So it doesn't make me necessarily better or worse or more or less special than the next person. That's just what I focused on for the past X, Y, Z amount of years, but I'm still the same 9-year-old on FL Studio 6.
So what are some examples of like practices you're doing to keep your mind clear? Are you working out a lot?
Working out, just drinking water, keeping negativity away in every single form.
As much as humanly possible.
Yeah, I reject it, I rebuke it, because why? We're in paradise. Why is that what you're focused on? You know?
How do you react to road rage when people like get upset at you driving or?
I just be laughing, bro, because there's so much life to live.
Yeah.
Like there's so much to do to where you don't even know who I am. You don't know what kind of day I'm having. You don't know nothing, and you literally risking your life. And I can't even hear you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is I physically. It's not like I got in your way while we was walking. Like, we're dealing with vehicles.
Yeah.
You feel me? I understand road rage because I didn't have road rage before. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I'm above it all. But like, I laugh because I'm just like, wherever you need to go, I hope you get there.
Yeah.
If I'm in your way, then by all means do what you got to do. If you're in my way, then yeah, I'm gonna do what I need to do. And I don't really react. I just be laughing. I'm like, man, just stay safe, man. Because whatever you got to do, unless you headed to the hospital because somebody having a baby, somebody hurt, or you got to rescue somebody, I hope it's worth it.
Right, like that's the hard part is like, say somebody's like splitting through traffic, like honking their horn. Like there's two things that could be happening. They're polar opposites.
You know what I do with road rage? I blow kisses in this wave.
And another thing is, it's funny to me, bro. It's funny to me how like
weirdest, most confusing thing in the world,
bro. Out here in America, bro, honking your horn, with the exception of New York, honking your horn is looked at as just like, bro. In a lot of other countries, specifically like Nigeria, bro, honking your horn is just a form of communication.
Yeah,
like it's not disrespectful. I'm not angry with you. I'm just letting you know that I'm here. You
like
know
a
what
dog
I'm saying?
barking,
Like,
it's not good, bad. They're just like, hey,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
No,
they need to have two horns, like a soft one. And
I told you already.
There should be two horns.
This might be the third time that we're talking about this, but I'm gonna take him to Nigeria. If we could all be in Nigeria at the same time, it'd be the craziest thing you've experienced in
Come
life.
through
I
December.
promise.
Let's go.
You're gonna see the horns.
You have to drive one hand on the steering wheel, one hand on the horn.
Just beep, 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 beep. It's like that.
It's communication. It's like, yo, because the thing is, people are just driving freely. So you have to like let them know.
You use it every time you're changing lanes, bro.
You have to, because you don't know who else is gonna change. There's nobody. It's not signals. What is a signal? You know what I'm saying? Like, so you just got to use it for communication. Just like in New York. In New York, they honk and horn for communication. So like road rage, bro. Like, it ain't road rage. People just upset about their monotonous lives, probably.
Yeah.
Or upset about something internal, or it's ego. Maybe this is their time that they don't have to physically stand next to somebody and size up to them. We're both in cars, so like now I can do this. You know, like a security guard at the front of a club. You know what I'm saying? Like the dynamic changed now. Yeah, I'm in a car now. You know, now I can like do what I've always wanted to do and get upset with somebody and show it. You feel me? But like, let us be walking past each other and I bump you a little bit. You gonna tell me sorry?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I just be like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Like those dogs, if you cross a fence and they're like, they open the fence, they're just like looking around.
Yeah.
They go drink water.
Yeah.
They close the fence.
let people feel like they got a little power. It's all good.
Man, this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Of course,
bro. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
I appreciate it.
This has been the New Space Podcast.
Yeah, I'll send y'all the invoice later.
Yes. Yes.
Send it to Jeff's address. We'll hook you up with that.
Appreciate y'all. Y'all continue to create, be yourself, control your mind, control what you eat, control what you drink. You know what I'm saying? You have the choice. You feel me? I don't know a lot, but I know what I know.